Okay, and now we are live.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone.
Need to pull the chat up myself. I feel like I'm just talking to you. Okay.
Yeah, StreamYard really lags bad for some reason now.
All the comments.
Yo,
Yeah, I've noticed that. Even on, like, whether it be the link or as an admin, it's always behind what the actual chat is. It's weird. Hey, Chaotic. Hey, Fluzzy. So is it still crazy out there on the streets, y'all?
let's say if it wasn't crazy, I don't think anybody would know how to react.
Yeah, that's true. Crazy has become the norm,
Hmm.
the status. I can't believe. Well, actually, I can't. I can't. I was going to say I can't believe Nicolina's trying to whitewash everything she does over there, but actually, she just don't want to get caught. And then she admits to half the stuff and then denies the other half.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't keep up on those channels. Like it's always the same thing, but different people.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how it would be hard. I mean, even for somebody that's been around for a few months, it would be hard.
Perfect shirt, chaotic. Perfect shirt. Say, did we lose Kemper? That's good that they're well, not rap, but the other one. It's good that she's live. Maybe the drama will stay over there and not come here. Yeah, we lost him, so maybe he'll come back up here. I was just about to ask you about that, if that was still on or not. I'm totally going to be there for it. Either way, like, I'm really rooting for her. I really want her to go up there and, set some stuff straight and learn a little bit and maybe see what all this drama is leading to. Okay, there's Kemper back. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, we got a nice little snowstorm going right now, and my internet already don't work too good. So
Yeah, we just got through with all of our snow and stuff, and then they said that we're fixing to be getting another round of it. So
yeah, it's supposed to get real bad here Saturday. At least
yeah,
that's
I
what
don't
they're
know when
calling.
the next. Yeah, I don't know when our next round is supposed to be, but I know like um, mid last week I was out in the yard and there was like little flowers starting to bloom, and then now they're just all dead again.
Wow. I wish there were blooming flowers here.
Yeah, it really surprised me. I mean, it was just like a little pathway out to where I go to check my mail, but there was quite a few of them, and I went out today to check it, and they're just all gone.
Yeah. I don't say it's
You are
too.
really busy, chaotic.
I don't say it's too much like the tundra here for that to go down.
Mm. And as far as for the mods and stuff with the blocking or timing out, if anybody comes in here and has anything rude to say or anything, just do what you got to do. Like I don't even care if people give warnings. This channel is not about drama.
Right.
So It's just, well, I mean, obviously it's about drama. We talk about it quite a bit, but yeah, I'm not going to let people come in and then start bashing people and shit when it's actually a serious.
She's watching 3
And
streams.
my internet is also really slow. Yeah, that's why I said she's like really super busy.
Well, I know, I agree with her that she's not doing herself any favors. She really isn't. Because, I mean, it was shown tonight.
Mm-mm.
They still talking smack and messing with Mama T. They showed that. So,
You know, and it's like, I don't personally have any issues with any of them. I mean, I don't like the things that they're doing and that they're saying, and you know, especially like what they're doing with Smoky Mountain Mama, and you know, she's got that baby, and you know, all that stuff. That's just like way above and beyond.
right.
But I personally don't have any issues with any of them. But that's probably because they know they can't really out me for anything because I'm very open and I have no record whatsoever, so they can dox me all they want. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
But
I tried to take that power away when I showed up on YouTube because I knew it was going to happen. So, and my record consists of 3 marijuana charges, misdemeanors. That's it. Period.
yeah, I have like a speeding ticket, but I wasn't even speeding. And
Well, I
I
mean, yeah, traffic violations, that I don't consider that a crime. I'm
yeah,
libertarian, so
and I mean, for me, I was in a Louisiana van with Oklahoma driver's license and stopped in Alba, Texas. And the guy was like, you're speeding. And I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, oh, yes, you are. He gave me a ticket. And he's like, when you go right up here, you're going to see like a 50 sign or whatever. I was supposed to be doing like 68. I no more than pulled up just a few feet and there was a 75 sign. So, or a 70 sign. And I was like, I'm not speeding, but I went ahead and paid it. Like, you know, I didn't want to go back to that tiny ass town.
no, I hear that. I do. No,
Yeah. So,
but like I said, I pretty much put my shit out there, so they couldn't do
yeah.
anything.
Like,
Like,
I'm very open and I work for the state for the majority of the time. I work home health. So my record's clean. I ain't
right.
worried about any of this doxing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing. That's how you know most of it's lies. Because if any of the shit was true that they're trying to claim and say and all this stuff, it would have been out months and months ago.
Mm-hmm.
With the way that people do not hold on to information, yeah, it would have been leaked out a long time ago. Not even
Exactly.
leaked. It would have been a focus on a 3 live series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've given her more than enough time to fix what she broke, what she messed up, and she hasn't. I even gave another heads up today, and I know she's paying attention, but she still has all those videos on her channel,
Yeah.
not edited or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, even if they do the apologies, it's always the ifs or buts. And then they don't take down what they have said in the past. So those apologies are just nothing.
Well, is it really an apology at that point? Like,
Well,
if
no, it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's literally nothing.
well,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying. Like, if you're apologizing, but what you're apologizing for is still on the channel, it's not an apology at all, even
yeah,
without a.
yeah, it's all about the clicks and the views.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Mama T chose to do Big Swan Dive back into the drama a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't have many people in her chat. Nobody cared. All people want is drama. That's all they want.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not even the creators themselves,
Oh,
it's the subs that keep it going.
that's a lot of the times.
Because,
I
like,
maintain those narcissistic creators, if they had 20 in their chat, they wouldn't be doing it anymore.
exactly. You know, and I'm good with just like 3 or 5 in my chat. Like, I don't care how many people is here. I know people will watch
Yeah.
it later and they'll get the information. And this channel is nothing special. It's just there for the information. That's literally it. But yeah, they start complaining when they only have like 150 people in their chat and stuff. And I'm like, I literally talked to myself for like 40 minutes one day on a live. Like, come on, people.
No, I was going to
But
say when me and Jimbo first started, I mean, we weren't on YouTube, but it was still the same thing. We had maybe 5 or 6 people watching, and we
yeah,
didn't care. We kept doing them, as long as people could go to that video and reference it. That's all that mattered. It was about the information, not the status or the clout.
exactly. It's just about getting the information out there.
And that's why I've tried to tell people since I came in, it ain't about money, it ain't about a channel, because it's not. But there's certain things out there people need to know. People need to know about people like Ernie, people like Nicolina. They need to know.
You
I mean,
know,
you're not doing anybody any favors by not telling them.
yeah, I mean, it's just like with this channel, it'll cover many, many topics. Like next Wednesday, I have it scheduled with African American lady named Pearl Jr. She has a YouTube channel, and mostly all she does is really talk about the Michael Jackson death hoax. And she produces DVDs and stuff like that with all of her information. She's a journalist, she's an activist, she's got books out or documentaries out about Barack Obama. Like she's well off as far as being able to be a role model for younger African American women or anybody in general. But I have her scheduled for next Wednesday, and it's all about the awareness. Like she doesn't even care that the channel is small or whatever. So, and she's got like I don't know like 30K subscribers or whatever. But it's just all about the awareness.
Right. I mean, it really started like what we were doing was basically we were trying to do an updated version when we started. I don't know if you know what Horror Mask News is, but we were basically wanting to do an updated version on Ernie's information by almost doing like a part 2 to the Horror Mask News, just carrying it over, but it tells the Lycan, and then that's really what it was about. Like that's I'll have to share some links from the Tales of a Lycan with you so you can see, but it was literally hardly any videos and all receipts.
That's good though. I mean? That's the way to do it.
Right. And like Horror Mask News would share Tales of a Lycan post or, stuff that I'd sent them about Ernie, and we would share theirs, So it was basically anybody that ran into one of those 2 pages, they ran into the other one inadvertently, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it was literally, I mean, all the people that me and Jimbo had talked to concerning Ernie, there was a lot of stuff that we're not allowed to talk about. Sort of the same position that Rap is in right now with the information he's getting. He can only put out so much of it without compromising someone else. Yeah. So that's been the hardest part of it, is not being able to react or to shout it from the rooftops what's going on. Because once you do that, you could put people into the bullseye.
Yeah, that would be the hard part, because I mean it's all about safety. Like even on this channel, like I totally get the whole safety thing, because it's why I don't have the intros and stuff. Because if somebody is pulling up a video for a domestic violence resource or something, I don't want like music and stuff to get the attention of the abuser if they're like right there. So I mean, yeah, everything has to be about safety first. I'll say, did we lose you again?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay.
I know it's a constant thing with my internet. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I didn't know if I had to wait for you to reappear or something. But to get into this topic, I do have a couple of things here that I want to read about men that men are victims too. I know a lot of the stuff about men being victims come out with the Me Too movement, and they're at one point in the Me Too movement, there was some people that was literally like fighting to keep men out of it. Like it was just a woman thing. And now they've got the prisoner Me Too movement as well, for prisoners that have been essayed by guards and staff and stuff like that. So the Me Too movement did actually take off. Hey, James. But this just a little bit of information on, I guess, the stereotypes and stuff of what people expect when they hear the word domestic violence. It says violence can affect anyone, including men. According to the CDC, 1 in 7 men age 18 plus in the U.S. have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in his lifetime. 1 in 10 men has experienced the R word, physical abuse, and or stalking by an intimate partner. Although men make up a smaller portion of callers to hotlines, there are many more men who do not report or seek help for their abuse. There is a variety of reasons, and some of those reasons include, but not limited to, men are socialized not to express their feelings or see themselves as victims. Cultures still cling to narrow definitions of gender. Young boys are taught not to express their emotions or to just suck it up and be a man. This is known as the man box. This can be extremely detrimental to boys as they age, especially if they find themselves in an abusive situation. Men may feel discouraged to talk about what is going on in their personal lives or feel that no one will believe them. They may not even realize that they are being abused, or they might assume they should just deal with it on their own. The next one is pervading beliefs or stereotypes about men being abusers and women being the victims. The majority of DV stories covered by the media are about male perpetrators and female victims who are typically in a heterosexual relationship. While we certainly don't want to minimize this violence, focusing only on one type of situation renders invisible the many scenarios that do not fit this definition, including abusive relationships among gay, bisexual, and trans men. This might make many victims feel like they don't have the space or the support to seek help or speak up about their own experiences. The next one is the abuse of men is often treated as less serious or even as a joke. We have seen this action in pop culture. When a man is abused, many people don't take it seriously, usually for the two reasons already mentioned. The truth is, abuse is not a joke in any situation between only two people. All victims deserve support and resources to help them feel safe. And then the last one. Many believe that there are no resources or support available for male victims. It can seem like the majority of shelters and services for DV victims are women focused. However, services for male victims do exist. Most federal funding sources require that DV services be provided to all victims of abuse. Hotline advocates can provide information, assist with safety planning, and or find local resources if available. They can also help brainstorm alternative options if local programs are not available, or rather, not meeting the requirements for male victims, including who to call if you have experienced discrimination. Okay, dang. That is something that all of those are something that I have personally dealt with, like trying to help other people. It is very hard for men to be placed into a shelter.
See, I've never been in that situation. I mean, I've been homeless a couple of times and staying in my truck, and I didn't qualify for programs and stuff like that, like Section 8 or whatever. So, but I know you were talking about men sucking it up, not telling people, not talking to people, just dealing with it. I'm very, very, very. either.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I didn't know if you can hear me. So it sounds like going in and out.
Yeah,
But
you
you know,
got
like
to the very, very,
what happened
very
to me?
point.
I'm sorry.
You got to the very, very, very point, and then it cut out.
I'm just saying. I said I'm very familiar with having to suck it up, not talking about things, that kind of stuff. You know, that's pretty much. I mean, hell, when I was S8 as a kid, it started when I was 10, and it continued until I was 12, when I got big enough to fight it off. And I didn't tell a single person until I was 19.
Yep.
And then, of
That,
course, my father
that's
being a
pretty cool.
preacher, he wanted me to do all these Christian counseling things and all this. And I didn't want to have anything to do, So I didn't want to. I was open to going and doing counseling, but not with a Christian counselor, because I didn't want that to be the focus.
Yep. I was gonna say that is actually a huge problem um, within the society that I have come across, like AA and stuff like that. People want to reach out for help, but they don't want to have to do the whole religious thing. And a lot of the domestic violence shelters and stuff, even if they do accept men, which it's very far and few in between when they do, they always around here, you go to church on Sunday or whatever, and that's even if your abuser is in that same church that the crisis center or whatever attends, they still expect people to go to it.
Right. And that can be very traumatic.
It really can.
Like that's what I was trying to explain to Mama T the other day. Does she know what it's like to fear going anywhere? Because, like I said, my dad was a preacher, and this guy was in one of the close families in the church to my family. They lived 4 blocks from my house. Like when
Yep.
cars broke down, um, my dad and that guy's dad was always working on them together. Going fishing together, going to camp together. Like every time I turned around, I was stuck in a situation.
I feel that. I have 3 fathers. I have my biological one, and then I have the one that was on the birth certificate, and then I have my stepdad that raised me pretty much my whole life. My stepdad and my biological, both of them were like amazing. The one on my birth certificate, however, there was a lot of SA going on too. He was a truck driver. Since he was on the birth certificate, he had court ordered visitation and stuff. He would take me into the showers at truck stops and have men pay him at the door so that they could get into the showers and stuff there while I was in it. And he was also known as a traveling preacher because the first time he would preach in somebody's church, they wouldn't let him back in the doors. So I get that. I was raised, basically the same. And with the whole
I do,
preacher aspect,
I do want to be clear. It wasn't my father that did that.
oh yeah.
I just want to I want to clarify that it wasn't my dad. My dad being militant and being a preacher is the reason why I never told anybody.
Hey,
Not
Jimbo.
until I was older. So, but yeah, being in that situation, stuck in that situation, it sucks.
It really does. And then, I mean, you're growing up and you're being taught that you can turn to the church for help and support and stuff. But how can you do that when the abuser is part of that church? And of course, they're going to believe them over the victim.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that was part of the issue. Like, this guy was quite a bit older than me. And him and his family had leverage and pull in the church. I mean, that's going to be that's basically, you might as well go and accuse the preacher at that point.
Exactly. And then on my situation, the father that on my birth certificate that was doing all that stuff, his dad, which was legally my grandfather, was the mayor of the town.
Yep.
So anytime we would go to court, try to stop visitation or whatever, of course, the mayor's son was innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, this guy threatened my little brother, threatened to do the same things to him, and even threatened to off him if I was to talk.
Damn.
Yeah. Like I said, that worked until I was 12. And at that point, I'd really become hostile toward anything. And it actually happened at church. He started fucking with me, and I just started wailing on him right there in front of the whole congregation outside. And I got my ass beat for doing that, but I never explained to my dad why. He just thought I was being rebellious, which was, like I said, my dad being militant, everything, you got to have accountability. You're a sinner by nature, all of this stuff coming at you all the time. And
Yep.
if I go and tell him this, he's going to say the same shit to me. Like, this ain't me, But that's why, yeah, I was 19 when I told one of my best friends, and she just basically straight up told me, she's like, man, there's something going on with you, something that you've not talked to people about. And until you do, you're going to get worse than what you are right now. And I was in a bad way back then. Like I
That
was,
was
I was
that
very
was a good friend.
rebellious. I'd gotten into drug usage. I was drinking anytime I could, smoking weed, snorting coke, eating pills. Anything I can get my young ass hands on, I was trying to do it.
Yeah, see, I had the opposite effect. I grew up where all of my cousins was doing that stuff, and now that I'm older, I kind of realized they were going through the same stuff that I was, but they had because I was pretty much the baby of the family and everybody else was, 10, 15, 20 years older than me. But they had went through this stuff and they had turned to drugs and stuff. So when it was my turn, I grew up watching them with the alcohol and the drug use and stuff like that. And so I totally went the other way. And I don't have a problem and I try to help people, talk to them or be there for them or whatever. But I couldn't get into the whole drug community and stuff like that because of everything that had happened to me.
I can understand that. I mean, basically, I just wanted to escape it, and that was the only way I could find to escape it.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
And I mean, when your mind's being warped at that young of an age, your thinking process isn't always where it should be, you know. And that was what was happening.
That's very true. But I mean, mine ended when I was 11 because finally I had saved up enough money. I had $99 and I told my mom to just take me to talk to any lawyer she could find. And so we did, and I talked to them, and they're like, okay, we're going to accept $50 for the down payment and use the rest of it for the filing fee. And I'm like, okay. So I gave the lawyer my $99 that I had saved up, and I ended up getting the visitation and stuff stopped. And as soon as I got that visitation stopped, I walked away from that side of the family. I stopped going to church. Like everything was just completely opposite of what it had been. But a lot of people don't have that option in their lives.
Yeah. I was going to say mine almost went the opposite of where yours did. Like once I stopped it from happening, that was when like the real trauma hit, you know. So, like I said, I mean, at 12 years old, on my 12th birthday, as a matter of fact, um, I drank my first beer, smoked my first joint, smoked my first cigarette.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I tried. Because of my cousins, they would give me a joint or whatever when I was like 14 or 15, just kind of randomly meet up with them on the streets or whatever, going to the store. And they would try to hand me a joint or, a beer or something like that. And so, I mean, I did try it, but I would then turn around and see them acting stupid in the middle of the
right.
parking lot or something. I was like, nah, if this is what that does, I don't want it.
See, that's the thing I never saw was the effects it had. as far as like acting stupid and everything. But I was always around. Like I had friends that had older brothers or parents that let them use as long as they were in their home, that kind of stuff. So I grew up like two of my friends, their mom sold weed, sold Xanax, you
Yep.
know, and it was readily available. I was always in a situation, like I said, it was either older brothers or moms and dads. So you were allowed to use it, but they were going to make sure you weren't going to kill yourself, and
Yeah.
you didn't get out there and act stupid.
Yeah, that was actually the responsible thing to do back then.
Yeah. I mean,
Now we are
50s
don't.
is a different time.
Yeah, like I'm 42, so
Yeah.
I was born in
But,
1980. I grew up during the good times before everything went crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, that was the normal. I mean, I was like in third grade and riding my bike, a mile down to the store to pick up cigarettes for my granny.
Yeah.
Like it just the
I
times have
mean,
changed,
you
but
you were able to go in and buy beer if you had a note.
yeah, you
Not
know.
even kidding. You could buy cigarettes and beer, and you weren't
Well,
even 10. You just had that note with the money.
okay. I gotta mute for just a minute, and then I will be right back. So you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, doke. See what's going on in chat if I've missed anything. Well, I see James is here. What's up, James? Jimbo. There needs to be a neutral place for survivors of abuse because some of the predators are from religious place and background, and the victims don't feel comfortable in that. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, my mindset whenever my dad was wanting me to go and do Christian counseling, he had pushed it hard on me, especially in some bad times. And I was 19 when he found out. And so I was like, at that point, I was even questioning if there was a God. Because I mean, when you pray for that long for something to stop and it don't, makes you question, you know? So I was in that zone whenever I ended up talking to my parents about it. And at that time, there was counseling was going to be a big deal anyway, but you put that angle in on me and I'm done. And it really was, I mean, I had a lot of resentments, you know. My dad, he was a very strict man, very strict. Um, and me going through what I was going through and him pushing against me reacting to what's happening to me and him not knowing it became very, very volatile. Very.
Yeah, it does. And my stepdad, the one that actually raised me, he was a police officer. And not only the police officer, he was also the night watchman, and he was also the bar bouncer, and he was also the one that what did the security out at Lake Texoma. So I had a lot of law enforcement around me too. But when I was going through all that stuff, um, he would literally have to like pull me out of the closet and make me go, because with him being a cop, he couldn't just not send me on a court ordered visitation.
Right.
And even though I had all that support from law enforcement, and he obviously he was really wise, like he knew things were going on, but I still wasn't in a place to where I could even just open up and tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know, looking back, if I would have just told him, I would have never had to go again. Like he would have been arrested and, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
But
honestly, if my dad would have found out then, my dad would probably be in prison right now. Not even kidding.
yeah, see, that's the same. Like he may not have arrested him, but he would have been giving up his badge. Like either way, I wouldn't have had to go back on visitation again.
Yeah.
But it's just when you're young and you're going through that stuff, it's all about the image. Like for me, it was like if I tell my stepdad this stuff, and we go to court and this other guy goes to jail and everything, what's it going to do to his reputation? Like it hits home. And of course I figured he was going to start getting bullied or whatever at work. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go on in people's minds when they're dealing with this stuff.
Well, I mean, my dad thought I was just a rebellious, sinful kid because I'd never wanted to go to church, and I never could give him a good reason why. You know what I mean? Or at least I didn't, because if I did, then dude was going to hurt my brother, that kind of stuff. So I never did. But he thought I was just being a sinful, rebellious kid pushing it against church because I never wanted to go. So that was his mindset and what he thought was happening. So the same as you pushing back going on the visitations, I was pushing back on going to church, and people didn't know at that time what was happening. So I'm sure it created a lot of confusion. And plus I was the first kid my parents had. I'm the oldest. So they were learning hardcore as I was getting older. I mean, they basically said my sister and brother were a cakewalk compared to me, and I would agree. But I also had to explain to my dad, because even at that time, you disciplined your kids different.
Yep.
Like these days, if any parent did what my dad did in this time period, he would have been in jail.
Exactly. And hey, did he be in grandma watches?
Like, the first time I ever got suspended from school, he strapped me to a bed and hit me with a 2x4. He took a boat paddle, a wooden one, a boat oar, and that was his whipping stick for a long time. Well, for about 2 months, and then we threw it on the roof. We had a flat roof in the back part of the house.
Yeah.
And he didn't, he thought, it just got misplaced or something, and it was like 3 years later, we're on the roof retarring the flat spot, and he's like, "Oh, this is what y'all did with it." We're like, "Yeah, Dad, we're not stupid." But, that was what was waiting on you if you messed up or, whatever.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at that and then you're like, I'm about to tell my dad something like this, all you can envision is that boat paddle or that fist or that 2x4.
Yeah. And for me, it was pretty obvious that I was being abused when I was going on to the visitations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know the full extent of it, because he would beat me with a belt buckle if I walked in front of the TV.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time that I had to go for the whole month in the summer, and his stepkids, which one of them I still claim as my sister, like no step, no nothing. She was amazing, but she was also being abused and stuff by him as well, but she still tried to protect me the most that she could, and she was only like 2 or 3 years older than me. But they would all get pizza and hamburgers and all this stuff, and I literally survived the whole month on nothing but bologna. Like no bread, no mayonnaise, no, just simple bologna. And I would say something like, "I want to call my mom," and he would take me out to the barn and literally beat the hell out of me. And so, yeah, it's just like, even when people do see that there is some kind of an abuse situation going on, number one, they don't speak up about it and really ask questions, or they assume it is something totally opposite of what is actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, it was, like I said, I didn't talk about it until I was 19, and it was my best friend, which was my mom's daughter that I'd grown up with, so she knew me pretty well. And it was hardcore when I told her, because I respected her more than I did my mother. I never cussed around her or anything. And she said that a couple of times, you need to tell somebody. And it was aggravating me. And finally I got triggered and I cussed her from head to toe. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. I was visiting her family at that time. I was living in Newport. And Like after I told her, she's like, you need to go and talk to somebody else. And I was like confused, like, why do I got to tell everybody? You know, because that whole mindset of just sucking it up and dealing with it,
Well,
that
I have
was
a
literally
question.
where I was.
Yeah, I have a question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Like I said this before, this is all just what you're comfortable with answering.
Okay.
But whenever she had told you to go and talk to somebody else, how hard was it for you to find somebody to actually listen to you? Like as a man, the whole, men don't go through abuse kind of thing.
Honestly, I'll tell you what happened. Okay, I told her, she tells me you need to speak to somebody else. And so it might have been 4 months later, her and her family were visiting our home, like hanging out with us for that week. And I'd come home like 3 minutes late for my curfew. And the traditional blow up happened when my dad would get in my face about being 3 minutes late. And he kept pushing and pushing. And he started with this whole, you need to get your heart right with God. You're a sinner by nature. That's what your problem is. And I was so mad, my nose just started bleeding. And of course, my dad kept, yak, pushing, trying to trigger me more. And they're visiting, they're asleep in the next room. And she gets up, walks into mine and my brother's room because me and him shared one. And she's like, Matt, you need to tell him. And my mom and them were like, you need to go, this is between us, don't worry about what's going on. They weren't being mean to her. They were just like, just please go away. And she was like, no. And, so my dad was, you know, what do you got to tell us? What do you need to tell us? And she just grabbed my hand and said, tell him. And my dad was like, what do you got to tell me? And just folded his arms like being a smart ass. And I told him.
The thing that I see there is it took a lot of strength to tell him, but it's a good thing that you had that support because otherwise you may never have spoken up about it.
Yeah, you're right.
For me, I just basically told everything when I didn't even tell the lawyer and stuff beforehand. I just told him I didn't want to go back and that I had finally reached the age to where the courts would listen to me and let me choose which parent I wanted to stay with. And then I told him that, the guy on my birth certificate wasn't my biological father and stuff, but that kind of made him press it a little harder in court. But then when I was talking to the judge, I just told him everything that had happened to me. And the judge asked me if I wanted to go through another trial, basically, to get him prosecuted for everything. And I was like, nope, I just don't ever want to see this man again.
Right. Yeah, but like after I told my dad, mom, his mom was in there too. Like she just dropped on the bed when I told her, and my dad was just like looking at me like, "Are you kidding?" Like it took him a minute for him to really realize what I was saying, and things got really rocky after that. So yeah, I've not really spoke on it too many times. I've been open about it happening. I just don't talk the details, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that whole opening up thing, I don't really do that. Not like normal people do.
No, I mean, and that's why when I had got the message and stuff to you, I was like, if you want to, if you're comfortable with it, like, I'm just hoping that this whole thing makes it to where men will actually step up and, at least ask for some resources or something because I get so many emails every week from women looking for resources and stuff. But out of like, let's say 300 emails in like 4 months, I've only had two of them that were men.
I mean, but that is, men aren't really supposed to talk. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
that's the
what
mindset.
society
Like
says.
any generation that I like. I'm almost 50, and I mean, you can talk about it and be a little bit open about it, but still, at the same time, it's still the same mindset as what I grew up in as a kid. You just don't talk about it. You suck it up.
It really is. And that's the one message that I want to put out there.
Yeah, it's not really healthy.
No, it's not.
Not.
And the way I see it is silence is violence. So if a man is living with domestic abuse or abuse in their past or as a kid or whatever, and then they don't speak up about it, all that is showing the younger generation that they need to stay silent as well. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times we know that somebody's been through something, and it
Yeah.
could be anything as simple as like a car wreck in their teen years or whatever. But if they don't talk about it, they can't bring awareness to it. And then somebody else is going to be in the same situation and not know anything about what to do or where to go or how to get help. And it's just an endless cycle.
Oh, it is a vicious cycle too. It really is.
Yeah, I don't know if you're seeing chat or not, but Grandma Watches says, Kemper, you are very brave, and it takes a lot to talk out about it. The healing starts when you stop letting it fester inside alone. You are a better man than he ever will be or was.
Thank you, Grandma Watches. Yeah, see that is one thing. I do have closure. Um, at least what I consider closure. Um, he passed away. I think it's been 3 years now, and it happened to be on the same day that it started, which happens to be my birthday.
That would make for really good closure. It
I mean,
really
and I didn't even know that he had. And I sent him a message on Facebook. I was like, "Yo, dude," and I told him like, what you did to me, it was wrong. I forgive you. I just hope that you don't have any other victims. You know, and just
yeah, Alice.
and we'll see. And his sister messaged me back, telling me that he had passed. And what the fuck are you saying about my brother?
Yeah. It's
And
like
I heard. I was just like, okay, yeah, his
yeah,
karma's right there.
the one over my abuse, he's been gone I think now for like a year this past October or something. And the funny thing is, and I mean, it's not funny as haha, but funny as in karma got him. Because no matter what he had done to me, his family always stuck by him. Like he could do no wrong at all.
Yeah.
And then when he started getting sick and he moved in with his sister, she literally had him living out in the chicken coop on some days. Like she treated him like shit. She kicked him out in the middle of like tornado weather and everything else. Like she really stuck it to him there at the end. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Those people that do no wrong in their family's eyes, they're the ones usually that are being protected and covered for.
yep.
We've seen an example of that recently on YouTube as well.
Yep.
That mindset and mentality that makes more victims and making
Yep.
it where victims can't come out.
Yep. It does. And then when we try to help somebody, they've got people there that don't want them to get the help.
Right. But yeah, that is probably the biggest issue that I had with everything that happened after the fact. The drugs, no, the drugs, I did that because of the mindset of keeping this locked in, not talking about it. I mean,
That's so creepy.
you deal with so much shit, and then you want to black out.
Yep. And Grandma too, talking about all the nice people and stuff that are silent and kind and, just don't really speak up. And it makes it look like the population is less than what it is. Hey, Gator.
No, I can guarantee you there are a lot of male victims out there, and not just of SA, of DV, same thing.
Bullies. Yeah. Everything.
Now, I will say this. One of the mindsets that I have developed with that whole thing happening to me is I don't really, anyone close to me, I don't feed into arguments. I don't try to make it where you can't talk to each other.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? I try to keep those open no matter what. And a lot of people don't like that. Like, I have 2 ex-wives because I don't argue. I don't
Yep.
feed that energy into that because you end up saying things that you don't mean. Tempers get involved. You know, it just, there's nothing good from it. You know?
I refuse to ever put myself into another domestic situation. But at the same time, I also refuse to be that person that puts somebody else into a domestic situation.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna fight with me, you can fight with me. I'm not gonna raise my hand. I'm not gonna raise my voice. I'm not gonna do anything to make the other person fear something coming from me.
Right. Well,
Because you never know who has been in a past situation and what their triggers are. But at the same time, like, for example, my coworkers, I'm about to knock one of them out.
coworkers are different.
Yeah, like, I'm not a violent person, but that dude's about to go down. Like, I will get him. But
See, I grew up in a home that, as strict as my dad was and how as militant as he was, I never heard him scream at my mom. I never seen them argue. They weren't making out all the time or kissy kissy, but they were a team.
yeah,
And
that's like my dad. That's a cop.
well,
He never.
that's the relationship. Like, it don't matter if it's friends, wife, whatever. That's the kind of relationship I want, is to be able to talk about anything and it be okay. You know, it's not arguing over it, because I didn't really have that when I was younger.
Well, actually, I kind of take that back. He has, like, there was a little bit of abuse. Like, I guess bringing things home from work. If the dishes weren't done or something like that, like, my mom would get in trouble or whatever.
Right.
But it wasn't anything that, like, put her into the hospital or nothing like that. But once the kids got older, we kind of set him straight with that. And he had realized that, like, for me, for example, that I had already been through abuse with a different dad. And then he kind of, I guess, grew up and decided that he wasn't going to make me witness, anything like that ever again. But I mean, he was always there. He was the protector, all kinds of stuff like that. And daily arresting criminals. And most of his calls were domestic violence. So I don't know. It's crazy how things work out the way that they do.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the closure I got. Yeah, because for me, his family knew, and now they're questioning everything about him. Plus, he's gone. He can't hurt nobody else.
Yeah, and I mean, you doing it that way, they're questioning everything about him. I wonder how many other victims they have come across and they're just not talking about.
I'm not sure, but
it wasn't just
I
you.
know it's possible. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I know it's very possible that there were more. Like, I hawked my little brother to make sure this guy didn't get close to him or in a situation he couldn't get out of.
Yep.
Like, my brother's 5 years younger than me, so he was really small when it started happening to me.
Yep. Now, and then one ages out and one ages in.
Sorry, I'm just reading chat.
I'm trying to keep up with chat, but I'm also eating KFC at the moment. So.
Oh, grubbing. Gotcha. Yeah, as far as arguing goes, it doesn't do any good. Losing control and just throwing words out there that are not getting you anywhere. It's just going backwards,
See, that's a good way to do it, though, Grandma. I think we all have that look. It just takes people a while to figure out what it means.
Right. Yep. But yeah, I didn't say my mom and dad don't do that with each other.
Mm-hmm. It's like my grandma, she was tiny. She was like 4'9", and my grandfather was like 6'5". And she'd smack a newspaper a couple of times, smack it with her hand. It got really bad. She'd smack it on the table. And then whenever he would go to stand up at the table or whatever, she'd jump up on that table and just sock him in the jaw. Like he was a very abused man. Not really though. I mean, it was like a mosquito hitting him.
Right. An ant fighting an elephant.
You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was one thing I was grateful for. Like I did have, I mean, we weren't rich by any means, but we were taken care of, and there was none of that. The chaos in the house was actually from me growing up. I was the source of it. And of course, there's a backstory to it, which everybody's heard tonight. But yeah, I mean, um, I can imagine what I would be like now if I didn't have that environment. Like
Yeah.
I went down a big slope of drugs. I really did. Until I was about 35, I was hell on wheels. I only have 3
Yeah.
marijuana
And
charges,
like
which I'm
for me,
grateful for.
me growing up in yeah, I'd have whenever I'd come back on my visitations. I mean, I would slam doors and I would get an attitude with my mom. Everything that she didn't deserve from me, basically, I would hand it out to her. So she would call him, and then he would come and he would put me in the back end of the police car, and we'd drive down a couple of blocks. He'd put me in the front seat. We'd go fishing, go get a couple of burgers or whatever. Then I'd go back home and slam doors and yell like I was really mad at him, just so that she would call him again the next time. But he knew, like, I guess being a cop, he's seen the signs, and he always knew I was acting out whenever I would come back from the visitation. So I guess
Yeah.
him looking back now, I can see where him taking me fishing or taking me to go get a burger or something was his way of trying to get me to open up, which I wasn't ready to do, I guess, at the time. But he had a different approach at handling it. And I'm to this day very thankful to him for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really say I had anybody like that around. I mean, for the most part, I thought it was me against the world kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think that feeling ever goes away. Like once you get that feeling, there may be times when you can look around and see other people there and stuff, and you just kind of deep down know that somebody's there. But that feeling of having to do it alone, I don't think that feeling ever goes away.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, because that's a lot of weight to carry for a kid, for anybody, but especially a kid, a young mind that's not even developed yet.
Yeah.
And I mean, then you learn a lot of bad habits when you're trying to cope.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not just drugs. I'm talking about character defects.
Yeah, things that run deeper than just what other people see.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, my biggest one is I just don't talk about a lot of things. I just don't bother.
Yeah. And for me, I think the one thing that really triggers me is chains. Chains and locks. Like even just taking the dog out to put him on the chain for a little bit, just picking up that chain, it sends, I don't know what it is that it sends through me, but it's like my whole past just kicks in for that split second.
Mm.
But then I can continue to put the chain on him and it's totally fine. But we end up with little tiny triggers like that. And then as we get older, we don't even realize that the triggers are there anymore until, like, we talk about it. Because, like, I put the dog out, I don't know how many times, thousands of times. And just now talking about triggers, I'm like, oh, wait, that chain is a trigger to me.
Mm.
But like Grandma was saying, think of it this way. If I hadn't gone through the stuff I had, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah.
Grandma, we really need to just have you here as our group therapist. I mean, we literally we chat hop together, so it's like I want to hire you as group therapist for every chat that I attend. You're good, Jimbo. How's my puppy?
Yeah, that's why I've got the anxiety that I've got. My OCD has a lot. Like when I say OCD, it's not like germaphobe or anything like that. It's more about the calm and the chaos. If that gets disrupted, then I lose it. Does that
I'm
make
the same.
sense?
I am the same.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I mean, and it's like I said, it's not a germaphobe thing. I can have clutter everywhere and have certain spots for things. That's not the thing. It's more about just the feeling of your schedule being changed at work or waking up 15 minutes later than you're supposed to. It's the
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because it's the norm.
I'm not so much with my sleep schedule because normally I literally only sleep from like 5 a.m. to like about 10:30 a.m. and then I roll out of bed and I go to work for a little bit and then I come back home and it's the same thing over and over. But when things get like things that I can't control when I'm supposed to be able to control them, like earlier I was literally flipping shit because I couldn't find my stapler. Like,
Okay.
I'm the one that keeps up with my stapler. Like, I know where my stapler is. It's not a big deal. It's a freaking $1 at the dollar store. But I cannot find my stapler. And shit like that really triggers me because when I was going through the abuse and stuff, he would always take little things away from me, like my pencil so that I couldn't draw pictures, or, he would give me my bologna and not give me a fork, or if I grabbed a fork, he would take it away from me. So it's like the little things that come up missing is what triggers me more than, if somebody come in and like took my sofa or something.
Yeah. Like anything that disrupts the norm,
Exactly.
throws an imbalance, like just like it did when I was a kid. Things that were supposed to be one thing end up being another. If things aren't in my life the way that they are presented, it freaks me out. But at the same time, where I don't talk about things, I'll sit in a situation, and oftentimes a bad situation, before I change it because of my fear of throwing that balance off.
Same.
It's those deep-seated things that are weird to people. Like a lot of people can understand germs, they don't understand that. A lot of people don't. I'm not saying nobody does. I'm just saying more times than not, that's what I find.
Yeah, and another thing that I've come across is there's a lot of people that do actually understand, but they won't let on as though they understand because they don't want to kind of out themselves.
Right. Scared to talk about it. Yeah.
Well,
and I get that too.
I do too.
I've been there.
Yep. Same thing.
It is a process. Sometimes it's a little bit, longer process for some than others.
Sometimes it's ongoing and it never gets completely to that point either. Like sometimes the little things change and come out and stuff, but then the bigger things are still down deep that actually need to be worked through. But you can still find the little accomplishments, and those little accomplishments can add up. If y'all hear my dog in the background, I swear I'm not beating him. He really likes to whine at the cat.
Be whining at a puppy soon.
I know, right? No, this dog, he is so terrified of cats that a cat can just run past him and he'll piss right wherever he's standing. Like he's a nut job. He's like really good though. Like he's a good dog. Just has cat issues. And then of course my nipped out psycho cat doesn't help things.
Yeah, I wish I had a pet.
I know where you can get a puppy from.
Oh, I do too. I just ain't got a farm to have that horse at because it's going to be a horse.
Yeah, it's gonna be big, but
Hmm.
Akitas are amazing animals.
I just like animals, period.
Me too. I would
Like,
I would totally give up my house just to go live in the middle of a forest with all the wild animals.
oh yeah. See, growing up, I wasn't one of those hunter fisherman people. I was the hiker, kayaker guy. I liked being in the middle of nature.
Yeah, well, the dad that raised me was like full blood native, so he always had me out, like picking up skins and fur and bones and getting stuff to make the jewelry and the medicine bags and all kinds of stuff like that. So we was like always out in the middle of nowhere, like lost for days.
See,
I
that's
love that.
about Tennessee. I miss being in those mountains. It made me a
Um,
little bit homesick being at Jimbo's last week.
oh, I bet.
Oh, it was. It really was. Like it's really close to where I grew up anyway. The same type of mountains. And yeah, that's Jimbo. I was outside a lot.
Yeah, so we don't have the mountains and stuff around here. We're just like open pastures and we've got some creeks and lakes and stuff like that around here too, but they're all pretty just straight out and open and it's amazing like just going out in the middle of nowhere and just losing yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's basically what you just described is where I'm at here in Michigan. Just flat, open fields, a lot of it farm. You got your um, watersheds and stuff like that. But um,
Hey Erica, I didn't see you come in.
yeah, those Smoky Mountains, there's nothing better than those. Everything about them.
I'm really looking forward to that trip up there to get that pup though, because just letting the kids see new scenery and stuff like that too. And then they want to stop in Tennessee for the Titanic Museum.
Oh, see, if you go to the Titanic Museum, you'll be going the county next to my hometown.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was in Newport, Tennessee, and Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is like 30 minutes away.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to email me with some sites and stuff to see up that way because I mean, I'm not going to drive straight through with kids in the car and stuff. I've got to make some stops and let them get out and stretch and see different things.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good stuff over there, like Western North Carolina and East Tennessee border. Those little border towns, plus Asheville, North Carolina. If you've never been to Asheville, you should go.
What else over there?
It's just they have hot springs that you can soak in. They got salt caves. They've got the Biltmore Estate, which was the Vanderbilt's home. Like at one point was the largest home in America. Um, and they've got it decorated at Christmas time, and like they have concerts in the courtyard, and like pretty big names come out there. But just the towns, like there's one. It is where the last of the Mohicans and Dirty Dancing were filmed. It's a place
Oh,
called Bat Cave, North Carolina. It's where Chimney Rock is. If you've ever heard of Chimney Rock,
I haven't ever heard of that.
yeah, it's a awesome. It's like a little Gatlinburg right there below Chimney Rock. Is what it's like. They don't have all the rides and stuff, but they got the little stores and the restaurants.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, we never go on vacation. Like we never do, and never have the money or anything like that to just go and do stuff. So whenever I take this trip up there to get the pup, I've got to make sure that the kids see some stuff, and I just take like a week and kind of go and see sites in
What state are you going from?
Oklahoma.
Oh, I gotcha. See, I've been
Yeah,
to Oklahoma one time, and that was back when Timothy McVeigh did what he did. Um, like 95, I think.
yeah, it was like 95, 96, something
Yeah.
like that. I know my oldest one was really little.
But yeah, I was, yeah, it would be 95, I think, because I was 19/20. I think I might have just turned 20. But I was driving. I drove from New York City down to Newport, Tennessee to see my family before I went out to move to San Francisco. And I took I-40 all the way out to Bakersfield. And I forget what state route I took, but I took it up like a little back road into San Francisco. So it like eventually it connected to I-80 and took me into San Francisco. And honestly, just that road trip, one of the most wonderful things I ever did in my life.
Yeah, it's like I really want to go on this road trip. I just don't want to drive that much. Like I'm dreading the driving and just sitting in a car and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also like super excited to go because then I get my baby home.
Well, I was going to say, your trip there before you get the puppy with you, um, I would just find a few things that are right off your little route that you're on that you can go and see on your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do everything on the way there. That way, it's kind of just a straight shot to come back with the puppy.
Well, it took me, I want to say it was 5 days, 6 days to drive it. And I didn't like, I was speeding, of course, but it wasn't like I was rushing. But I would see something on the side of the highway, a little billboard, and I'd go and check it out. And I did that all the way out to Bakersfield. Bakersfield was something to see just in itself because
Oh, I bet.
it's like country music for the West, like Nashville.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think,
it was pretty cool just going out there, like um, Flagstaff, Arizona. It was like a big oasis in the middle of the desert out there. There's like a snow-capped mountain in the distance. When you get into town, everything's green, grass, trees, bushes, everything. Once you get out of town, it's all desert again.
yeah, exactly. But I know that to go there, the kids are wanting to go through Benton, Arkansas, because they want to go see Bob Joyce, which is supposed to be Elvis Presley,
Okay.
and like where he did his whole death hoax and stuff and witness protection, and now he's Preacher Man Bob. But either way, uh, be it that or be it not that, it's still something interesting. Who knows if the kids could say, "Hey, I met Elvis one day,"
Mhm.
but they're wanting to go through there. But I can't really find anything on the way from here to Benton, Arkansas, that looks like it's worth really stopping and looking at. Everything that I'm seeing is like going straight up and over to Kentucky, where like all the good stuff is.
Well, I was going to say because you would have to go out of your way to go down to Gatlinburg and the Titanic Museum. It'd be like about an hour off of. Um, if
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're going 40, right?
probably.
Okay. So yeah, I would say you're going to have to go an hour out of your way just to get the Pigeon Forge. But if you do, there is a ton of stuff out there to go check out.
Yeah, you see, that hour would be so worth it though, especially as Titanic enthusiasts that I have here. Like, they love the Titanic and every. I think they were on it in their past life or something.
Have you ever heard of Cades Cove?
I think I've heard that mentioned, but
It's a nature reserve that you can actually ride bikes through, and there's like bear, deer, elk, fox, like you name it. As long as it's not like lions and giraffes and shit, but you know what I mean. For Smoky Mountains, the wildlife, any of it is out there. Like
oh,
right,
that would be cool.
yeah, it's really cool. And then there's of course the distilleries up there, Old Smoky and all that kind of stuff. And but like the national park and the backside, like Cherokee, North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, all of that area is awesome. It really is. Asheville is just like, if I were to move away from here and go back down south, I would probably go to the Asheville area.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty cool place. And I agree with you on that, Grandma. I really do. Now, growing up, we had a cow. And that cow would literally come into the living room and sit down. It'd back up and sit down on the sofa.
Oh
Like
man,
that cow is just part of the family.
I was going to say we had coyotes really, really, really bad in the Smokies. Like whenever I rode a bike to work, like back in 2017, 16. Actually, it was 16, 17, 18. But when I would be out at 3 a.m. and there'd be like 3 different packs of coyotes going off right off the road. Like I'd actually come across bear on that highway going to work.
Damn.
Skunk, possums, snakes. Like it was the Smokies. But those coyotes, there was a lot of them, and they were always really bad next to the cow pastures. Always.
Well, you see, Chaotic, you can just totally go there too. And then we can just like all have a reunion. Because isn't Leslie from right there too?
Oh, Leslie's, yeah, she's from that area.
Yeah. See, we could all just meet up around Jimbo's. Like, I've got like a 12-person tent. Like, we're good. I'm taking the tent with me.
I can say Jimbo's got the land to camp on.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can have the gas money and everything to get there, but like, I'm not really into putting money into motels and shit, so we camping.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's like when I'm traveling like that, I'm hitting rest areas, truck stops and rest areas. I'll stop and sleep for an hour or 2 hours and start driving again. I don't play when it comes to a trip. I get it drove.
This tent, I had put the kids on a LGBTQ Christmas thing that some of us were sharing the links and stuff for, and somebody got the 12-man tent and a couple of the camping supplies and stuff to go with it. But it's literally, you just you lay it down and you put in the base rods, and then you put in the other rods and you literally just pop it up. Like, it's so easy to put together. It's not one of those where it takes you 15 hours to figure out which pole goes where.
Yeah, that's true. I always use pop-up tents. That or a hammock, like the hammocks with the net over it, so you don't have bugs and stuff flying around you. So I was going to tell Jimbo, that's what you need to use when you go camping, is a hammock, bro. That won't jack your back up.
Yeah, my kids would probably just flip me out of the damn thing, though, when I'm asleep.
See, I've been to so many festivals that hammocks were the way to go. Like, even if you're tying it from a bumper to a bumper, out in camping.
I've done that. I've done that before.
Like Electric Forest Festival, that was experience. It was like a big forest and thousands of people with their hammocks just out there camping, getting tore up. But it was all painted with like fluorescent paint and glow in the dark paint. And Electric Forest, like everything was fiber optic and very visual. Very
and
visual.
No, Chaotic, I wasn't talking about putting you in the tent. I would not risk those nails. Nope.
I'd never get an inflatable thing.
You and Thelma can be there, and she can treat her exotic like a queen, and we can all just have fun.
Keep the air mattress away from her.
Exactly. That's why I wouldn't let her in the tent.
It might be waterproof, but it's not stiletto proof.
I can see her getting mad at you, though, and going over there and popping your mattress.
Oh, yeah. Or out, like, whitewater rafting, and next thing you know, you're sunk.
Yep. You have to make sure she had on some like, what's that called? Like the gloves that the police wear that.
Get some burlap sacks and Timer.
Yeah, that would work. Chaotic, if you want to, you can come up on panel and threaten him with your nails. Like,
You know,
you
I
know,
heard.
I'm good with that. Put you right underneath him, and you can just poke him from.
Hell yeah.
Even Grandma's like, "Oh my God, chaotic camping with those nails." Grandma's never gonna have that image out of her mind now.
Right. So, are you still going live, Chaotic? Are you still going live at 9?
Yeah, see, chaotic. You can get that 4-star and higher hotel when I'm there, and then we can just like come hang out in the swimming pool or whatever, and then I can go back to my poor little old tent. At least that way I could get my son to take a shower, throw him in a motel pool somewhere. 14-year-olds are hell.
How old are your kids?
The two that's still at home is 14 and 16, and then my stepdaughter is 17.
I'll say you got them right in the middle of things, then, huh?
Yeah, and then the older ones are like, I don't know, like 28, 26, 24, 22.
Okay.
And then they were the three older ones, and they multiplied. Now my other stepdaughter, she's pregnant, so she decided to multiply, and oh, it gets crazy trying to keep up with dates and birthdays and who had who.
I do good keeping up with my own birthday.
Yeah, me too. But it's like, no, my kids, they're like all really super close to each other and stuff. So, like, it doesn't matter whose kids I have here. When one comes to pick up somebody, we just send them all. It's like, here, go to Aunt for a while. That's funny, being. You got to protect them hens.
Fuzzy, yep. That's funny. That's one way of putting it, I guess. Multiplying.
Yeah, they all decided to multiply. And we still got others that aren't even ready for that yet. So it's like, oh my God, there's no way I can keep up with all these grandkids.
Yep. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm going to need it.
Like I said, I do good for my own, so I can just imagine like multiples upon multiples.
Yeah, you see, chaotic, that is something that we could do. We could have Jumbo go on an investigation to find out what's spooky around there, like haunted houses and stuff, and then we could go and do a live from those
place. I can tell you a couple of places.
Okay.
In East Tennessee, yeah. Besides the Sensabaugh Tunnel, you have the Memorial Building in Newport. You should Google that. It's probably on about every haunted, like Haunted America and all those kind of websites. It's one of the ones I know it's on most of them. And then you have the Pressman's Home.
Well, that name right there sounds pretty cool.
The Pressman's Home's actually in Hawkins County. It's on the backside, and it was basically its own self-sustaining community. Had its own power generators. Huh?
Oh, I was saying hi to Sarah. She didn't know we was on. See, YouTube does not like to give out notifications unless somebody has hit the notify me under each video.
Right. If I wasn't a YouTube nerd, then I would miss most of the stuff.
Yeah, I have so many channels set to watch, but it's just like sometimes I set them because I want to do something. Like there's about 4 creators that I will literally look on their shows or their live things for upcoming to see what time they're going to do their thing so I can do this over here.
Right.
It prevents the trolls.
But no, you should check out, like, the Pressman's home is cool. Like I said, the Memorial Building, there is like the Bijou Theater in Knoxville, there is the cemetery there in Knoxville, like where John Sevier, like the first governor of Tennessee, is buried. That's how old it is. Like, there's quite a bit of haunted stuff around there, or supposedly haunted.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because my kids and everybody that would be going on the trip and stuff with us would be like, they're into stuff like that.
Well, like the Memorial Building, there was a plane crash that had, I can't remember how many exactly that was on the plane, but it wasn't like hundreds or none of that. I want to say it was more along the lines of 40, maybe 50. But anyway, there were 5 scientists on that plane going to Oak Ridge. Everybody knows what Oak Ridge, Tennessee is, at least I hope. But the plane crashes in Parrotsville, which is a part of Cott County. And this was in the either 60s or 70s when this happened. I want to say it was the 60s. But they didn't have a facility big enough to put all the bodies. So they took them all and put them in the Memorial Building in Newport. And there's been people go in there, do audio recording, video recording, like EMPs, you name it. And they say it's very active.
That would be pretty cool.
And I can vouch that place is freaky as fuck. Because for the people that know something about me, they know I used to work for a vape store in Newport. It was literally across from that building. And one of my friends, that their family started the first coffee shop in Newport, they were going to start it in the Memorial Building, but it was too creepy. It was just, you can definitely feel the hairs on your neck and arms and everything raise when you're in that place, like you're being watched.
That would be like super cool. I know Alice, the one that's in here in the chat now, she told me some stuff about some of the places down in Louisiana.
Oh,
and then,
yes.
Yeah, and then Stoned Gator did a show about some of the stuff down there. And I want to say Army Vet. I think he was talking about some of this stuff down there in Louisiana, and I really, really want to go see it. Like,
Louisiana, Charleston, Savannah. Like Savannah was like, I think it was established in 1680. Like, it's old right there.
Yeah, like I love the old
It's
places.
just like New Orleans too, with the Spanish moss and the old cemeteries, and like even the vaults above ground.
Yep.
Instead of being buried. Yeah, that's how a lot of Savannah is. Like, what is the name of that book and movie? Like, Murder in the Midnight of Good and Evil. I can't remember. It's a Kevin Spacey movie. But anyway, they actually filmed part of it in that cemetery. And it's got, what's the name of that cemetery? Bonaventure, I think is the name of it. And it's supposed to be haunted. But like places that's got an old history like that, I especially love those. I'm a history geek. You take me to Charleston and Savannah and New Orleans, which New Orleans was awesome.
The Garden of Good and Evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That was actually, part of it was filmed in that. I think it's actually, part of it is the cover for it, for the book and the movie. But yeah.
That would be cool. See, like I can go to like the old sites and be perfectly fine. I can go to military like battle sites and be perfectly fine. But you put a new house up somewhere and then tell me it's haunted, I will be freaking out at everything that I hear. But the old sites, they don't faze me one bit. I love to see them.
Well, I mean, where I grew up in Alabama and Georgia, the town I lived in Alabama was actually the where the last battle of the Civil War happened. It was called the Battle of Girard. And there was so many different plantations around that area and just battle sites. You know what I mean? Savannah's the same way. I mean, oh my gosh. Those old squares in downtown Savannah, those little antebellum houses and stuff. Oh my gosh. It's awesome. And there's a lot of haunted history there.
I bet.
You know?
And yeah, Alice, it is Mama C. She's the one that keeps Jimbo in line. Hell, she keeps all of us in line.
I forgot there was chat going on.
Yeah, I've just been watching it. They're just talking about animals and different things. Some's talking about the scary stuff. Some's talking about animals.
Yeah. I see. I'm not big into the haunted stuff.
I'm more for the history of the place. I mean, if it's haunted, then yeah, it's great. Honestly, you know, I'd be all for that. But the history to it, the deeper level, is what intrigues me.
Like I was speaking about earlier about, you know, this issue with God and higher powers and stuff. At the same time, I don't really believe in ghosts and demons per se. You know what I mean? Not the way other people view them.
Yeah, me neither.
I believe in energies.
I was going to say the energies, and then, you know, I don't even really believe like in possessions and stuff like that either.
Right, either.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a different way of thinking about it, but I mean, I do believe in the ancestor guides and, you know, the energies that they can put out to protect us or guide us or stuff like that. But as far as like, yeah, just a ghost wanting to, you know, move a glass or a vase off a table and shit like that, like, nah, I don't really get into that.
I mean, it's cool, and you know, it's cool to go check out. I'll go check out anything like that. But as far as like, it's sort of like gore doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean? Like my first movie that I remember watching was Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
I was 5 years old, and so I grew up watching Friday 13th, Jason, Michael Myers, all of them, and I actually found a lot of what was going on as humor. It didn't affect me the way that it affected a lot of people. That's almost the same way that I am with hauntings and possessions. Possessions is a real tricky one for me, but hauntings, yeah, I believe that, you know, there's energies around us, and I believe that there's energies in us, and when we pass, that energy goes somewhere.
Yep.
That's what I know.
See, Chaotic is timing us now. We got 22 minutes.
Listen here, lady. I'll show up when I want to. Like, you need to worry about your other partner.
Yeah, so Chaotic, do you need to come up here and poke him with a nail?
No. It ain't no ganging up on me either. Sorry. Cracking up an energy drink.
Nah, I already promised that I would be off of here before you start. Like, that was the whole deal, the whole agreement.
She thinks she's a boss.
Isn't she, though?
She thinks.
Between her and Thelma, you know, we got to keep our shit together.
Hell, and don't forget about Leslie either.
Yeah, but I haven't seen her in here. I'm gonna have to get her later.
If those two are slipping, she's gonna get us. So.
Yeah, I know, right? I haven't seen Leslie in here.
We can always throw Jimbo as like a buffer.
Alice is wanting to know what's up with Chaotic's nails. Chaotic, you want to come up here and show them?
I'll be right back. Hold on.
You know, you're gonna leave while she comes and shows them. Nope, StreamYard's being slow. I know I'm clicking on the right button. Yeah, see, we mentioned those nails, and he just takes off running. There you go, Chaotic, if you want to come up and show off those nails. Oh, I'll have to go and look at that thumbnail in a little bit. That's funny.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, and so is Chaotic.
Oh gosh. Here, I gotta go.
Somebody.
What's that mean, Ass?
Oh.
About to go smoke in a snowstorm, y'all.
There you go, Alice. Now you can see her nails and know what everybody's talking about.
Dear God.
Some of the men on other channels have referred to her nails as being 12 inches. That says a lot about, themselves, but
So they never mind.
yeah, I know, right? You don't even have to finish that one.
You ain't whipping nothing, Jimbo.
like the rule of three, y'all. The rule of three.
So does anyone else want to join the panel tonight and discuss their grievances with the no-show?
I might be able to jump up for a little bit. I got to get on to my son about his homework and stuff, but unless he knocks me out in the process or something, I should be available.
Well, I just figured I'd offer.
Well, you already know, I'm sure.
Grandma says, Chaotic, don't ever get your pennies in a bunch and have to pick them out. The mother.
I would figure.
Yeah, now Alice is gonna want to go get her nails and shit done. I can already see this. Be like screenshot of your nails. So.
It's a movement.
Yes, Sarah, that is tonight, right after this live. You see, you got here just in time for my show for us to tell you about Chaotic Show. I see how this works.
Followed by Jimbo and Kemper's show.
Yes.
After they're both on my show.
Yeah, this is like chat hopping 101 here.
So is Drama T still live?
No.
Okay.
She ended a while back.
Stay live.
They both ended about the same time.
How long ago was that?
I don't know. It's in the group chat.
Well, I was going to say, I've been on panel.
Probably an hour-ish.
Okay.
Sarah, mine's at 9, and the stand is right after mine.
Yes, Miss Sarah, that's tonight.
You see that? She's not going to tell you the time that the stand can start because she's planning on keeping them late.
Well, originally I said no longer than 2 hours, which would put them at 11. Now we have a no-show, so I don't know how long it will go. It could be an hour. It could still be 2 hours.
No, she'll probably go live on her channel while we're live.
Yeah, saying that they're busy over there and she could die.
So the stand set theirs for 11:05.
Sorry for the noise, guys.
You're good. That's the one thing about this channel, like noise in the background and stuff, like none, it doesn't affect anything because, usually I have kids coming through and everything else. So
I'll see you in a little bit, Grandma.
Yeah, think they're going to get triggered, Jimbo, or no, they're going to get triggered.
I got it.
Sarah, are you wanting to come on panel or just be in the chat? She has not responded. So in about 10 minutes.
Oh, she responded the other day, though, didn't she?
Yep. So in about 10 minutes, the title of my show and thumbnail are actually getting changed.
Yeah, I would. Because, you're doing the right thing by being the middle person and giving her a chance to clear up
We'll
stuff.
do some panel.
And if she doesn't want that opportunity, then that just means that she's happy with the way things are right now. And, you got to do you.
Jimbo, I already have my phone set in StreamYard, so can you forward the link I sent you to Ninja, please?
Man, you're just lazy, aren't you?
Well, no, I've been the whole time I've been in here listening to you guys and making sure no one was in here being rude, plus listening to the other two, plus resetting up all of my lighting and everything for the other background because I didn't feel like this background was appropriate. So I'm switching to the other one, which ironically I put my skeletons in the background, and I'm kind of wondering how many people will catch it because it's kind of like the skeletons in your closet thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you suck at multitasking?
I'm amazing. And cleaned off my desk.
Oh my God. I have a 6-foot desk that's like iron and wood, like solid wood.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved that thing into my room last night, and I got it like halfway through my door. And then I realized my son was at his sister's house and couldn't help me get it the rest of the way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, like, talk about back pain today.
Mm-hmm.
I had one like that, but I sold it because I thought an L-shaped desk would be better because I like to switch directions. And like the
That's
way
what
it's
I'm-
sitting right now, I can like, if I sit on the other side, I have that couch there. So I have that backdrop and then, this one and then that one. And then I'm going to get a chair for over there to be able to do like just the Michael Myers, Jason stuff. But this desk, I need a bigger L-shaped desk.
Yeah, see, I want the L-shaped desk too, but I just moved this one in for now. I'll eventually be able to afford the L-shaped desk. But the one that I had seen, it had the LED lights and stuff like that on it. On this desk, it's so dark over here where I have it that I literally pulled the light out of the fish tank, the long bar light.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that like taped to the desk for light over here. Like, it's so pathetic, but it works.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, because when I got this one, I had the husband go pick it up. Clearly didn't comprehend measurements. I think they tricked me because I think they did it from like the end of the corner to the end and vice versa, not like the short part. So in my mind, it was much bigger.
Yeah, well, I want an L-shaped desk because, like, I've been talking to Anita on doing some of the LLC stuff with domestic violence and stuff like that with her. So that's eventually going to be a thing. And then I've still got to get with E Squared about doing the whole policy for the ovarian tests every year and stuff like that for females and trying to get that into policy. I have somebody now that actually works with insurance, and they can come on and talk about how the insurance perceives tests and, how they figure out if they're supposed to be yearly or whatever. So I've got all that kind of in the background in the making. So that would be literally like one side of my desk, and then the other side would be like my school and YouTube.
Right.
So I really need an L-shaped desk. I found one for like $140, but that's like, I don't know, 7 weeks of work, literally.
My problem is like this room is big, but because there's so like obviously I have a wall of just black bookshelves, right? And everything is black. I like that this one's glass top because it doesn't make the room feel so closed, even though it's a big room. And I don't know how hard it's going to be able to find a bigger glass top one that's still L-shaped.
Yes, Fuzzy B, you are supposed to be blue. I thought that color would look really good on you.
I'm going to hop down and
I'm going to go put your gear on to
take me a
stay away
little
from her
break before
nails.
I hop on another panel.
Okay,
no, I'm just going to like go smoke real.
All right,
I'll
see you in a few minutes.
Great.
And thank you
for
for
sure.
coming here and being a voice to, hopefully somebody will come across it and decide that they can speak up too.
Yeah, just anybody that deals with something like that, just be sure you talk to somebody. No, definitely be careful of who you tell, but talk to somebody, because it'll do
Yeah.
more damage holding it in than it will anything.
Yes, definitely. And if any of the mods in here can drop Kemper's link, that would be great. And of course, your own or whoever else's. Gotta share up those links.
I emailed you the link, Never Silent.
Yeah, I've seen that email.
I've still never found your original email, Never Silent.
I don't know. I sent that email on my phone, so it's possible it went, who knows where.
It might be in the compose box. I have
No,
a
well, I actually did hit send on it. See, I get on to Gator about that all the time too, because she was like going to email me and then never hit send.
Yeah.
But no, I went through and I checked all of it, and I can't find it either. So it literally just
Sugar
vanished.
Pie last week. I did. I went to email her. I wrote the email and went to do something else, and like a couple of days later, I was like, "Oh shit!" And I went, and it was sitting right there, waiting to be sent. Good old THC.
Yes.
But thank you for having me on your panel. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. And I will see you around the streets.
So I'll see you in a few minutes.
All righty.
See you, Kemper.
But yeah, I will go ahead and close this and everything. That way you can get yours started, because it's got just a couple of minutes.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go make a slight adjustment to this thumbnail.
Okay.
I already made an adjustment to the title, so
That works.
All right,
I will
I'll see you in a
over there
minute.
in a little bit.
all right, bye.
Okay, thanks.